Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be unboxing this Infinix S5 Lite and giving you a quick hands-on review. So guys, here's the box and this is the S5 Lite. A few weeks ago, I've already unboxed the Infinix S5 which was priced at 9,000 rupees, and this is kind of a smaller variant to that. This phone is available only in one variant. It comes with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and you can buy it online on Flipkart. As I've said, price could be around 8,000 rupees or exactly 8,000 rupees. On the back, we have some of the highlighting features, which is mainly that punch hole design, bigger battery, 16MP selfie camera, and some more. We'll look at the specs later, so for now, let's just get on with the unboxing. At a price tag of 8,000 rupees, this is currently the cheapest phone to come with a dot notch in the Indian market. Now that the box is open, at the top we have the phone itself. Let me just put that aside, we'll come back to it in a second. By the way, this phone is available in three colors: midnight black, quad cyan, and violet. And we have the cyan color. Next we have a cardboard partition. Next we have a micro USB charging cable. Next we have a 6 watts power adapter. At least a 10 watts power adapter would have been great. Next we have a SIM card ejector, some documentation, and finally we have a soft silicone pouch with a cool pattern. I'll show you that later. And finally you also get a free screen guard inside the box. I wish it was pre-applied. Anyway, these are all the contents of the box. Now here's the phone. Now on the front, this phone has a sticker with some of the highlighting features. Once again, it's the same old punch hole design display, 16MP front camera, triple rear camera, and finally a 4000mAh battery. So let's just peel that off. Now on the back, we have another sticker with SIM card information, IMEI numbers, and so on. Let me just remove that as well. And this as well. So guys, this is how the phone looks on the back, and this is how it looks on the front. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone has a completely flat fiberglass. There's no curve to it, there's no 2.5D curve or a 3D curve to it. It is completely flat. For me, it's the first time I'm looking at a design like this. It's not new or refreshing. It is slightly different from other phones, that's all. Now at the top, we have the camera module with the triple camera setup. At the bottom, it seems like a camera, but it isn't. It's an engraving that says 16.0 autofocus. Beside that, we have the quad LED flash, which is like a trademark for Infinix phones. Usually only these phones have quad LED flash. Anyway, beside that, we have the fingerprint scanner with a nice matte finish. Following that, we have the Infinix branding, and at the bottom, it says S, designed by Infinix. Now on the front, you get that massive display with that punch hole design and a 2.5D curved glass for additional protection. Above the display, it has the earpiece, and below the display, it's completely plain, and the chin is kinda big. Now for the sides, on the right side, it is a power and volume buttons made of plastic. They have a nice clicky feel to them, and they are sufficiently elevated. At the top, it is completely plain. On the left side, it is a SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. Finally, at the bottom, we have the mono speaker grill on the left side, followed by the micro USB charging port, primary microphone, and the 3.5mm audio jack. Now this phone has a thickness of 7.9mm and weighs 178 grams. In hand, it doesn't feel all that thick and doesn't feel all that heavy either. This phone has a small camera bump to it, but when you place your phone on a flat surface and try to write something, it wobbles a bit, but not too much. Now let's try the free case that we get inside the box. It's pretty easy to put it on. And now we are done. Now this is how the phone looks with the case on. It is a raised lip for the camera module, so even when you place your phone on its back, camera module is still very well protected. It is a tiny raised lip for the display, but it's almost negligible, and I wouldn't recommend you to place your phone on its face. Now finally, with this case on, buttons are slightly hard to press. Overall, this case can give you some extra grip and some extra protection. It also protects your camera module, but for long-term usage, I would recommend you to get a better case. Now these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone has a triple camera setup with a 16MP primary camera with f1.8 aperture from Samsung with 78° field of view. That's followed by a 2MP depth sensor for taking portrait shots, and finally a dedicated low light sensor. Just in case if you're wondering, even though this phone has a triple camera setup, it doesn't have a wide angle camera. For selfies, it has a 16MP camera with f2.0 aperture, once again from Samsung, with 77.3° field of view. On the front, you get a massive 6.55-inch IPS Infinity O display with HD plus resolution, 20:9 aspect ratio, 48 nits of brightness, and that punch hole design. When it comes to performance, it sports a MediaTek Helio P22 processor with PowerVR GE8320 GPU, 4GB of DDR3 RAM, and 64GB of storage. It will be running XOS 5.5 based on Android 9.0. Finally, powering this device is a 4000 mAh battery. There's no fast charging, and it also comes with a slower 6W power adapter. So guys, these are the complete specifications. Now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on. This is the default launcher, and to access the app drawer you can just do a swipe up gesture. And these are all the apps that come pre-installed. There is quite a bit of bloatware, and if there is any application that you don't use, just uninstall it by long pressing like that and then click uninstall. And now that application is uninstalled. So anyway, that's something you should definitely do, as this phone has a pretty entry level processor to have an overall smoother experience. Now let's check the storage information. So out of that 4GB of RAM, we get about 2.31GB of RAM free for our usage, and out of that 64GB of storage, we get about 53GB of space for our user apps and user data. Now let's check out the about page, and here it is. So this phone is running XOS version 5.5.2 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie, with the August security patch, which is kinda okay. By the way guys, Infinix provides regular software and security updates unlike any other phone out there. So with these phones, overall performance will be very smooth and you also get regular updates. So that's a pretty great thing. Now let's check out the camera interface. Now this is an S series phone, and these phones usually stand out for the front camera. Even though rear camera will be pretty decent, the main thing about this phone is definitely its front camera. We'll come back to it in a second. But anyway, here's the interface for the rear camera. There's no normal mode. By default, it's in the AI camera mode. And if you go to the left side, we have video recording, and we can record video at 1080p resolution. On the right side, we have a dedicated beauty mode for the rear camera. Next, we have bokeh mode. That's portrait mode for the rear camera. And on this phone, we can also change the amount of background blur effect you want before taking a picture. Next, we have AR shot, which I'll show you a sample for selfie camera. Finally, we have the panorama mode. Now this is the interface for the front camera. And once again, there's no non-AI mode. By default, it's in the AI camera mode. On the left side, we have video recording. Once again, we can record in 1080p resolution even with the front camera. On the right side, we have a dedicated beauty mode for the front camera. Next, we have portrait mode. That's for portrait selfies. And for portrait selfies, we can't change the amount of background blur effect. Next, we have AR shot. And here's a quick sample. So in this mode, we can take funny pictures like that. Here's something else. So we have some Indian styles as well. Next, we have wide selfie or panorama for the front camera. Now, if you have noticed, whenever we switch to the front camera, there's a ring around the front camera over here. So it looks pretty cool. Let me show you that again. Now we are using the rear camera. Just notice the front camera. And we see a nice indication and a nice animation going on around the front camera whenever you are using it. So that's pretty cool. Now these are some sample shots. Now let's test the speaker loudness. So guys, that was the speaker loudness. It's not super loud, but sufficient for regular media consumption, ringtones and alarms. Now this phone has a feature called Smart Bar. While watching videos or playing games, in landscape mode, you can swipe from the left side to access the Smart Bar. It gives you access to some quick shortcuts and quick actions. You can take a screenshot, you can record the screen, you can block banner notifications as well, and you can open some applications pretty quickly using the sidebar. When you're using your phone in portrait orientation, you can access the smart panel or the sidebar by using this indicator over here. Just swipe over this indicator to open the smart panel. Once again, these are your quick applications and these are your quick actions. You can configure them as well. So guys, now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up, so here we go. Fingerprint scanner is fast. It's not super fast like the Oppo and Vivo phones, but still pretty fast and usable. So guys, that was the fingerprint scanner. Now let's test the face unlock feature. Once again, I've already set it up and it is working pretty well in good lighting conditions. So face unlock works pretty well in good lighting conditions. It's not super fast, but still unlocks the phone pretty quickly. It probably takes just like a second. Now let's test it in low lighting conditions. Even in low lighting conditions, it is working. It is kind of slow, but still it works. This phone has a regular fingerprint scanner and it is pretty fast. So I don't think many people will be interested in using face unlock feature. Anyway, face unlock works pretty well in good lighting conditions, and even in low lighting conditions, it is reasonably fast and usable. Initial impressions, phone feels pretty sleek and it doesn't feel all that heavy either, but the display is really huge. Like this phone has a 6.55-inch display with that 20:9 aspect ratio. That makes the phone much longer. Bezels are pretty slim all around. Chin is kinda big, but considering other phones and the price segment, it is acceptable. Overall, this is definitely the most coolest looking phone under 8,000 rupees. Especially that punch hole design stands out a lot, mainly because of the wallpapers Infinix has chosen. And every time you switch to the front camera, you see that ring, which once again looks pretty cool. Images from rear camera look okay, while selfies look pretty good. Now in my initial usage, everything was pretty smooth. I didn't notice any lag whatsoever, and I hope it stays the same. As of now, it has just the UGA security patch, but it should be getting the next update pretty soon. Now the most highlighting feature about this phone is that punch hole design, and as you can see, that punch hole is pretty small, smaller than the Motorola phones, and it definitely makes the phone look much more premium. Under 10,000 rupees price segment, Infinix is the only brand that offers you a punch hole design, and none of the other brands like Samsung, Vivo, Oppo or even Xiaomi are offering you anything like this in this price segment. So guys, if you're looking to buy a phone under 8,000 rupees with a pretty cool design, especially this punch hole design, bigger display, bigger battery and decent cameras, you can definitely consider this phone. With that said, I'd suggest you to get the Infinix S5, which looks exactly like this phone but comes with a better front-facing camera. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do you like the design and would you be considering to buy this phone just for that punch hole design? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.